So today I decided to do some watercolor florals, and it's because I saw a Skillshare class by Victoria Johnson about gestural florals and just wanted to try it out. It's like a really short class. It's like 30 minutes in total of her just sort of going through her process. So there I'm just using old watercolor paper. Basically, I had some like pieces on the other side that sort of didn't make the cut, and then I just want to use the back side, so I don't want to throw it away because it's pretty like expensive watercolor paper. And so I was just doing a lot of mark making on a scrap piece of paper to see what kind of marks I can make, and then I tried to do like a little floral watercolor piece on the taped down paper you see there. And of course it's a classic case of how it looks a lot easier than it actually is, in terms of like when you watch someone else do it, it's like, oh, it looks so easy, and then when you try it, it's like, harder than I thought. So I had laid down a bunch of color and just random flowers, and I let it dry, and here I'm working on top of the dried piece to add like another layer. And I sort of regret doing like all the dots and stuff, because afterwards it's just sort of like way too like just baroque, but I have a tendency to do that. Like I just want to fill up all the space, thinking that, you know, it will add more to the piece, but sometimes that's not always the case. But I think it was good to add all of the detail in there to make it just more layers. But I definitely still have a long ways to go in terms of learning a bit more about how watercolor works. So, because I'm not a watercolorist in terms of understanding everything, and just learning more of creating like many more layers that will probably create a more interesting piece in the end. And definitely a lot about composition too, I think, which would make like a big difference. Like I said before, I don't really like the whole all the dots and all that kind of stuff, but I decided to put this first try into my journal. And I just sort of glued it onto my journal page with a bunch of other papers that I found, and wrote a little "bloom where you are planted" quote that I really love. I know it's sort of cliche, classic, whatever, but I still think that it has a lot of meaning with it. So I wanted to put it into my journal, and that's my page for the day.